All right. If you would like to come on up, I'll pass this to you. Right there.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Raja.
I'm Jocelyn.
So this past summer, we attended the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards in Westminster Woods in Occidental, California.
So you might be wondering, what is RYLA? It stands for Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, and it's a program that focuses on leadership, teamwork, and communication. It's sponsored by you all, and it's a really fun, educational, and eye-opening experience for us to have, and it really changed both Raja and I's life. We're honestly not saying this. It was really amazing.
So first, we're going to talk about some of the funner team bonding activities we did that really helped us form really close friendships with the people around us. And then we're going to talk about some of the more impactful experiences. So on the first day of camp, we got divided into cabin groups. And with these groups, we had a lot of our recreation time, and we did a lot of communication activities. And we formed really close bonds and friendships with the people in our cabins. So on the right is a picture of my cabin, and on the left is a picture of Jocelyn's.
Don't they necessarily split everybody up so people don't kind of form localized cliques, like everybody gets mixed with everybody?
Yeah.
So every day we would have some recreation time, and in that recreation time we could do whatever we wanted, just kind of hang out with people, learn about other people from different places. Every night we would have a campfire. At the campfire we would do fun games, have interesting skits, get everyone included in the camp feeling. And then at the end of the week we did cabin skits, in which each cabin had to make a little play, little acting thing that focused on a really important issue for that cabin. And then we also got to practice our presentational speaking.
There was also a volleyball tournament on the second day of recreation time. Jocelyn competed in it, and it was really fun to watch, and it was a good way to kind of work on like team bonding and communication. And then there was a basketball tournament. Me and Jocelyn both participated in that. Our team were the winners, and it was just another good team bonding competitive activity. And then on the last night of camp, there was a farewell dance, and we got to just hang out with the people that we've become so close with and sort of reflect on our experiences. And it was followed by a nighttime silent hike, and that was really to just help us reflect on how camp had changed us and what we had learned and what we were going to take out of it.
So each day we had grab bags, and that was about an hour of time where we focused on a particular skill.
My grab bag was called Marketing Outreach. There's a picture of my group right here. So what we did is every day we worked on creating social media platforms for the camp to help get the word out and let more people know about it. And we also designed merchandise that we could possibly sell in the future to help sponsor future campers.
I was in skits, and that's my grab bag right there. We were responsible for planning each campfire, so planning fun activities that really included the entire camp. And then there was also yearbook, which kind of made a week-long picture collection that we could look back on after we left camp. And then there was public speaking, and at the end of the week they did a debate. And there was photography, which took pictures of all the camp and then gave it to the yearbook. And then there was newspaper, and every day they would make an issue on what happened the day before, so we could kind of reflect, understand what we did the day before. And then there was a social justice grab bag, which created a pamphlet of everything they felt was a really important social justice issue, and they released it at the end of the week.
So there was a lot of Rotarian involvement at camp. One of the main ways this occurred was through Rotarian lunches and dinners, where local Rotarian groups would come and make meals for us, and we were really grateful for that, and also for the opportunity to get to interact with them and form connections. And then there was also a Rotarian career night, where local Rotarians came and they talked to us about the different careers and how they got there, and we got to ask them any questions we wanted, and it really helped to get us thinking about what we want to do in the future and how we want to get there.
So the workshops were a very important part of RYLA. About 2 hours every day, we would go and we would hear an expert talk on whatever they were an expert in. So the first expert we talked to was Rairaja on how to use social media. She told us how social media works and what a job in social media looks like. She's a social media, she has a social media job and she helps businesses up their online profiles. She also talked to us more directly about the risks of social media and how to use social media positively in our own lives as teenagers.
On the second day, we had a talk on self-development by our camp leader, Cassie Pitkin. She focused a lot on how we view ourselves, how others view us, and how we want to be seen by the world. One activity we did on this topic that was really impactful for me was the mask activity, in which we wrote words about ourselves on the outside of a mask that we share with the world, and then we wrote things about ourselves that we kind of hide or feel ashamed about on the inside of the mask. And it was really eye-opening just to see all those things written out and to realize they're not things to be ashamed of. And there was also a lot of emphasis on respecting ourselves and others and just exposing ourselves to different views and vulnerability.
We also heard from Eric Rubin, who's an expert on anti-bullying, and we did activities about bullying and self-awareness in his workshop. We did role-playing games where we would play either the bully or the victim, and it helped us to understand how we could actually stop bullying in the real world, not just giving us a lot of talking out. We actually experienced what it could feel like. And we also did a shared experience exercise where he would ask a question on whether or not we had had an experience, and if you had had that experience, you would step over the line. And it was amazing to see how many different people had shared the same experience.
On the last day, we had a talk on brain mapping by Chance Massaro. He's an expert on brain chemicals and how they work. To be honest, this was the last day of camp, and we had formed really tight bonds with each other, and we were really sad to be leaving, so we kind of wanted to hang out with each other, so we might have not paid as much attention. But we did learn about how trauma affects the brain, how memory and the senses are connected, and the different brain chemicals and their effects, and how we can use those chemicals positively in our lives.
So the most impactful activity from the entire camp for both Raj and I was the tearing away the words activity. So in this activity, derogatory terms were written on slips of paper and then put on a bulletin board, and then campers who then if they felt comfortable could go up and choose a term they had been associated with or had a painful memory connected to, and then they would share those stories. And oftentimes would cry. It was a really emotional experience. And then they would tear those words to symbolically let that word go and those memories go.
So both Jocelyn and I shared. The word I chose was bully, and I talked about how in middle school I was bullied a lot by a group of people who I thought were my close friends, and how when they would pick on someone else and kind of bully someone else, I would join in as a defense mechanism, and then I tore that word to kind of let that part of me go and forgive myself for doing that.
And I chose the word loner because when I was in 8th grade, I got pretty sick and got very isolated, and I lost a lot of the friends that I had. And so I got into a not very good mind space, and so I tore the word loser to let go of that.
So what did we learn at RYLA? First of all, we learned about ourselves and the experiences of others and how those experiences help form who we are. And we also learned a lot about empathy and understanding and why those are important to be a leader. We learned that to be a leader, you don't just have to be strong and tell people what to do, but you also have to have understanding and be able to empathize with people and what they've gone through and understand their specific skill sets. And then we also gained a lot of valuable career and college advice.
So why is RYLA important? Why should it stick around? You create friendships for the rest of your lives. Both Raj and I still talk to the people we met at RYLA. We're really close to them. We're even going to someone's prom in Petaluma this April. And it really changes your view on life and on leadership, how I think about what I'm going to do with my life, how I go about my everyday decisions on how to be a kind person, how to try to be a leader are forever changed.
So this last slide is a word map showing words that each camper chose to describe RYLA in one word at the end of the week. As you can see, the most prominent one is eye-opening, because this camp and this program really just changed our perspectives on leadership and just our lives in general. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
For just one moment. But before you even do that, how many people have been involved in any way with RYLA?
I got my first email at Camp RYLA. I still use it. That's all.
I have a question. You two have a great presentation on this. Are you sharing that with your classmates, or have you put it out to the school, or?
We did a slightly different presentation that was less informative to our Interact Club, but later on, as it gets closer to happening next summer, we might give this presentation as another reminder.
Great idea.
Yeah, you guys like at the Rotary meeting or something. I mean, you guys did an awesome job. You were really well prepared. This was really nicely done.
I'd like to see the younger members of the high school know about it, so
Yeah.
that they could be looking forward and get to interact in line to go.
Yeah, so every year, our club always sends people to RYLA. Rachel went, and she still talks to people that she went to. It's an important program, and these, as far as the way our district looks at it, it's broken to them. And a lot of clubs don't send interactors to RYLA, which is a problem, right? We know that it's not broken. We know that we need to keep this program. Every time we send students, usually we send to, Noon Club sends to, I think 1 year we sent a total of 10. So it's really important for these kids to keep doing this program. But as our leadership in the district looks at it, they attended and did not like what they saw. However, I think that they were not looking at it through the eyes of a high schooler, which is how you connect a little differently, which is why their presentation was a little different, less informative, more of showing the interaction. But like they said, as the time goes on, we will give them a more informative. It's just really hard to explain what RYLA is unless you go, which is exact words that they tell us every single year when they get off the bus. They also say it changes their life. So we know that it's important. Lisa, did you?
So I just want to say maybe they should do the same presentation at the district conference.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Take up some photos.
Maybe that would inspire other clubs.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. That's what our district is looking at, discontinuing RYLA and revamping it. Right now, it's a week long. That's perfect for students to get to know each other throughout the district, and then they go and start Rotary clubs. The district would like to cut to 3 days, be more efficient. That's not enough time for kids to get to know each other and to build bonds.
Brief chatting at our table, our club could support your going to the district conference. Giving.
Well, you gotta get on the program.
Thank you.
You already done it. Shouldn't be.
I like how Brian's like, what? But this is why we wanted to share this, because I wanted everybody to be on the same page. Stan and I have been working really hard to get RYLA, along with other people who are working with Interact throughout our district, who know how important RYLA is. But like I said, we don't get to go over there and share in the feeding of the students because we're just too far. So the Southern clubs have to do that. And a lot of times it may be a burden to them, I'm not sure. But we know it's important.
Well, I mean, even just talking to, you mentioned the people who go and help feed us. Honestly, all of the people I talked to, like, had been going for 50 years. They loved it. It was like, a lot of them, like, they don't get out of the house that much. Like, that was their, like thing, you know? And, like, I don't know. It's cool.
So I think as a club, because we're so active with Interact and Rotaract, I think as a club we need to understand that this is a program that we need to stand by.
Why couldn't we look at helping with lunches and stuff?
We can. We would just have to travel down there for the day. We could, yeah. But the interaction is the Rotarians in it. That's why we do. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Sorry, did you have a question? Yeah.
So as a mother of a preteen, I just want to comment and say that I really appreciated this presentation from you ladies and how valuable the skills that you learned and talked about are in these days, especially. So I commend you on taking that stand and going and learning and being open, because we need more women like you in this world.
And one last thing is, we normally, Jocelyn got to go early. Lucky her, she wants to go again. But we normally send juniors at the end of their year, right before they're seniors. One, they become a leader, they know how to do it, and they're able to better connect, because we have sent sophomores and they were saying it was great, but it would have been better if they were a year older. So we do share this presentation with them every year from the time they're freshmen all the way until they're seniors, and then when they go, they give the presentation. So this is why I like to focus on interact.
Good.